Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and in this video I'm going to talk about kind of all the news that they just released last night. Now this is a little bit of information about Ark 2. In my opinion, I'll kind of like walk you through all of it because they keep changing things on their website subtly without telling too many people. But this update from last night kind of gave us some interesting news, and I think it's kind of testing things that might or might not work on Ark 2. Now, they also gave us some terrible news, some delays, and some other stuff that I'm not such a big fan of. But again, you know, it's Ark. We're not shocked by this kind of stuff at this point. So the Community Crush got released last night, number 473, and you can see that it is a early content available now, but they pushed back the release. No one is shocked by this, of Lost Colony until December 16th, which means they're probably pushing Valguero back if I had to take a guess. But the kind of cool thing that they're doing with it is they're adding features, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but this is the screenshot that got released for Lost Colony. Now, inside of this, they're essentially saying that they've got an element-ridden underworld, if you want to think of it that way, and you've got these NPC-like characters. If you kind of look at their structure, they look almost identical to the creatures inside of the Ark 2 release trailer. Now, here's my thought before I go too far into this. If you kind of look at NPCs, this is the first time they've added true NPCs into Ark. Now, I say NPCs, not like the Genesis 2 where you've got the survival mods. It looks like there's going to be some sort of colony-based thing. I say colony because it's literally called Lost Colony. You can see some form of castle in the background, so you got to assume these are like vampire-like creatures or some sort of something along those lines. Now, the reason they would release these for Lost Colony is they're essentially testing what they can get away with for Ark 2, because they in the commercial that they made for it, they basically made it so you had NPCs that were chasing you. NPCs are super cool, but in order to have effective ones that are roaming an online open world, you've got to really test them before, you know, launching. Otherwise, it's going to be just terrible. So my thought process is we're seeing Ark 2 probably end of next year, not this year. And we're also going to see these NPCs and other interesting things that are changed in order to see what can actually work for Ark 2. Now, I've heard a lot of people say Ark 2 is not coming out. I disagree personally, because it's going to make them a lot of money. No one's just going to pass up on free money. Ark Survival Ascended and Evolved are both performing quite terribly compared to how they used to because of all the changes and the confusing and everything in general. So they have to have their next thing. Now, Lost Colony will be a big boost for Ark, because it's essentially the statement that they said was it will be Lost Colony, Genesis 1, Genesis 2, and then Ark 2 will be released. So we know that Lost Colony is probably going to release some, my guess would be a week after this, right before Christmas, maybe a little bit after, depending on what they do with it. But they'll release this. Genesis 2 Genesis 1 might be a release. My guess is February, March. Genesis 2 is probably like a summer release is my guess. And then you're probably looking at Ark 2 6 months after that. Personal opinion on all that. Now, this picture, right? So we've talked, I mean, that's not a useful weapon. This is new armor for sure. I don't know if it's a skin or if it's going to be a true new armor. Could be entirely possible, like they did with the Federation armor in Genesis 2. And they're going to kind of add element back into the game. Now, here's a thing that people weren't really looking at. They talked about the void worm, whatever you want to call them, the new creature, and they talked about it possibly having two different things that it can turn into. It's possible that one of them is this. I don't think so. I think this is some sort of like corruption that these things can have, kind of like the corrupted creatures. But I don't know what it'll quite be worth yet. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack there. I'm not going to go into all of it, but here's the news that I'm not a big fan of. All right, so you could read this whole thing, or I can kind of tell you essentially what they're doing. Extra Life, right? They are still having an Extra Life show this year. However, they're not going to do a 24-hour stream. Now, that's what I don't like, because it's a thing that people love every year in Ark, and they donate a crap ton of money, including me, way too much money. And they boost servers consistently. They release little things. They do a lot of different things. However, this year they've decided they're getting rid of it. So I'm not a big fan of that, because this is a huge thing for not only the Ark, but the community as well as children that they donate the money to. I think they've raised a ton of money. I want to say like $1 million or more. But because of that, they're saying that they are too busy working on Valguero Ascended and Lost Colony to actually plan this event and run it. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it is what it is. Can't really push them too hard. So they're going to do a extra life. It's just going to be from October 31st to November 10th. And you can see that you can donate over the time. And where is it? Every $30,000 donated, they're going to do a Dino TLC pass. I'm assuming they're going to charge for that, but you know, we're not going to go too far into that. And a maximum of 4 creatures. So at $120,000, they will do 4 Dino TLCs. Now, there are tons of creatures in Ark that will need TLCs or could use them pretty severely. I mean, some things that I can think of off the top of my head. Just let's look at 4 dinos that are basically useless. Carnotaurus, largely just a useless creature that could have some neat functions. Allosaurus, largely useless. I mean, it has a bleed kind of, but it's not always applied. So that's another one that needs a TLC. Like Bronto. Bronto is literally just a useless creature except for maybe a berry run, but even then there's better things than that. Diplodocus, I mean, it's got some tank to it, but that's about like, there's tons of creatures that need like, kind of like what they're doing with the dung beetle and then the, what's it called? The Oviraptor, giving things that are not used super commonly reasons to have them on official servers or even unofficial servers, really. So now, you can see dino colors will be added and then a sweet twist. Basically, you can eat these cake slices and you're going to have taming, breeding, imprinting, experience, and harvesting bonuses. Now, all of that's cool and all. Wildcard extra life page to receiving donations. They're not going to do the 24-hour stream. Still, I'm really kind of against that. And that kind of frustrates me because that's something I really look forward to every year because I appreciate, 1, the news they release, but 2, that we're actually doing a good cause as people who play video games, because sometimes people forget that most people that play video games are pretty decent humans. So another cool thing, if you haven't seen it, the Helicoprion is out. It's a really cool creature. I've got some reviews on it. There's definitely some stuff you could check out because it adds a lot of meta shift to Ark because it can essentially make blueprints out of anything that you find. Can't make it, but if you find something, you can easily make it into a blueprint, which is super cool. And then also it's got a lot of tank to it, and then it can knock things out in the water, which is going to be interesting. I don't know how much that's going to affect things, but it could be really cool. It could also just be completely useless, so who knows. Yep, but that's that. Live ops updates, you can see that they're doing the Ascension with Companion and Companion mode. There was a big problem, Armadago and Veilwinds were essentially like disappearing. They were just going away every time you ascended or transferred. So that's hopefully going to change, but we're not totally sure. But they're saying they're working on a fix for it, but basically you just have to get rid of it. But that's what it is. Expire servers are going up, and then ASA build template contest, basically building a cool template, and they will add it to their generic stuff, which is kind of cool. And you can see that chosen by popular vote, wildcard winners. Just generic things that you can add, even though you can just get them for free anyways. I don't know why it's super cool for that, but it is what it is. And then you've got your bonus rates across the world. But anyways, let's go back to the original picture, right? So here's some more things I'm gonna try and show you guys that you might or might not disagree. I still think this is an Ark 2 test. Everything they've released so far in Ark Survival Ascended recently, the, what's it called? Not the battle pass, but the skill tree that they're adding, this new NPC based system, and a whole bunch of other things that they've been adding recently are testing the limits of what they can actually get away with in Ark 2. Now, do they release Ark 2? I hope so. I certainly do, but I also think it's entirely possible that they just scrap the project because they're running out of money. Now, do I know for sure? No, I don't know for sure, but we'll see. Ark is one of the most profitable games that has ever been released. Just 1 or 2 games. People are like, oh my God, they're just scrubbing for money so hard. Those are the same people that will buy the new Call of Duty every year that it comes out for $60 to $70, even though that it's literally just a skin update in Call of Duty. They don't really change anything ever. In Ark, you've had, yes, there are some DLCs that you've had to pay for and things you've had to pay for, but it's also been out for 10 years, almost more than 10 years at this point, which is crazy to think about. So I don't mind paying the additional costs and stuff like that, because how many times has Skyrim been re-released? Some people complain about the money and they're just like, well, I didn't want to buy ASA. Then you don't have to. Like, you don't have to buy any of the up to it. The cool thing with Ark is you can just play the original game. But, you know, I'm hoping they release Ark 2. I'll play the crap out of it. So we'll see how it goes. Other things to look at on this, we talked about the Veilwind, we talked about the NPCs. The Rex is certainly a interesting thing. It's some sort of corruption to the creature. I I don't know if this is going to be a disease-based thing that you can get your character killed and spawn these, because there was a mod that was created. It was like a zombies mod where your character would die and it would join this like never-ending stream of these things. So maybe it's like you can enter the underworld. This is called the underworld. And there's an overworld, kind of like an aberration with like an island on top of it, if you want to think of it that way. And those two worlds in combination are going to be pretty interesting. Now, I wanted to look. There we go. Yeah, so you can barely see it. I'm pretty sure this is a corrupted Dreadnoughtus in the background. Kind of hard to see that, but I'll zoom in one more time just so you can kind of see. So that was over there. There's some other things in the background that I was like looking for, and I was like, well, that's interesting. Why'd they hide that? I'm pretty sure that's not polymer. That might be an element plant, but I'm not totally sure. And then I can't remember. I thought I remember seeing one more thing on here that I'm not totally sure I was supposed to see. That might be a tech sword. I can't tell. But again, neat things coming out. I'm looking forward to it, but it's a lot of cool news and a big letdown, obviously, for the extra life as well. So, you know, big news, bad news, but we're all used to that at this point. So anyways, hopefully this video helps you out. Tell me what you think below. And if you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, Teach out.